Hi, it's Penuel the Black Pen, the Spenuel the Sword Pen, or Penuel Pen Elimnyama. Got three topics I want to cover today. The first one being illegal foreigners, the second one being polygamy, polygyny, polyandry, and the third one being productivity, Tony Mandarich. If you haven't seen the episode yet, please go and check out my sit down with the leader of Bold One South Africa, Mmusi Maimane, ex-leader of the Democratic Alliance. Short, unfortunately, and I apologize, 1 hour, 15 minutes, I think, somewhere around there. We could have gone on for 2 hours, I think. Mmusi Maimane is a really top shelf gent, speaks really well. He's got really great futuristic ideas and solutions for South Africa as a nation. And speaking to him was a great pleasure. It wasn't my first time. I sat with him in Cape Town and I spoke to him. I think I'm going to drop both links. The first one is the one I sat with him in Cape Town. And then the second one is going to be the one where I sat with him on the panel show. He owes me another sit down, and I'm hoping that when he's around in Johannesburg again, myself and him can sit, speak about Bold One South Africa, speak about independent candidates, speak about electoral reform, and speak about how Bold One South Africa is different from the DA, different from Action SA, and then different from other political parties. Besides being a political party for all South Africans and not a particular race and not a particular class. Mmusi Maimane is actually a real pleasure to listen to, and he seems like a really passionate South African. I generally don't trust politicians. I think most of them are actors and puppets, and they just say whatever their funders want them to say. But I won't lie, he comes across very genuine. He comes across as a really patriotic and passionate South African. In most of the things he stood for, I seem to be quite in agreement, and I love some of the solutions he had. Education, home affairs, etc. Where I wasn't happy was his view on immigration and illegal foreigners. I felt he was too soft, too diplomatic, and almost anti-South African. I unfortunately couldn't challenge him, We had limited time, and the platform is not necessarily for me to push my views and opinions. That's why I have my own channel. That's why I get to make vlogs like this and share my own views. When Operation Tutula was getting very famous in South Africa, and Nhlanhla Lux was becoming like this young, roaring lion of a leader, I made a couple of Facebook Live videos where I shared my views around foreigners and illegal foreigners in South Africa. It wasn't an easy view to have, and a lot of people didn't understand, and I had to keep trying to explain, and they didn't get it. Because sadly, most South Africans are binary in their thinking. It's black or white. Are you pro or against? It cannot be nuanced. I'm going to start off by trying to articulate my views on foreigners and illegal foreigners. Legal foreigners, legal, here, got all the right documentation, went through all the right channels. They work here, they run businesses here. They are as much South African as anyone else. I have zero issues with foreigners that came in through the right channels. We can later on speak about whether they are here for skills that are not scarce, which channels do they have, etc., etc. The visas, the passports, work permits, which are a headache, and they keep us from growing a global economy, specifically on the African continent that is throttled by some of this bureaucracy, which is rubbish. So legal foreigners, no issue at all. Illegal foreigners, I'm going to try and simplify it. I have personally, I have no issues with illegal foreigners. Most illegal foreigners that I have met personally are really good people. I know they are in the country illegally. I probably should be reporting them, but I don't work for the police. I don't work for immigration. If they were criminals, of course, I would report them as any other criminal, including South African criminals. But like I said, most of them that I know are good people. They run trading businesses, they run other businesses. They give back to the communities they work in. They donate to the churches there. They donate to sports teams, in particular soccer. They create jobs for South Africans. And generally, they have good morals. Outside of the fact that they are in South Africa illegally, they have good morals. I get along with people like that. I can work with people like that. As a penalist, I care about good people. regardless of nationality, regardless of race, regardless of gender. I care about good people, and some of these illegal foreigners are good people. They just happen to be here illegally, which is a crime, but again, there are meant to be agencies to deal with those things. Not everything that is legal is right. Not everything that is legal is right. I made a TikTok video to articulate this point. Slavery was legal. It was not right. Apartheid and the forced removals of black people and relegating them into townships was legal. That was not right. There are so many things today that we call legal that are not right. In the same breath, things that are illegal, moving across Africa, and because there are borders, it is now illegal. It's arguable whether that's right or wrong, and that's not for me to say. What I want to say is this. We currently have laws in this country which are meant to preserve and protect ordinary South Africans. And the idea of allowing illegal foreigners here is not in the best interest of South Africans. So when Julius Malema and the EFF, and when Mmusi Maimane and Bossa, and when other people try to protect illegal foreigners, it is very upsetting for the average South African who is poor, black, lives in a township, lives in an informal settlement, because they have to live amongst illegal foreigners that come here. They may not necessarily, contrary to Julius Malema being patronizing, they're not necessarily stealing a job that if you got rid of them, automatically South Africans would have jobs. It doesn't work like that. But if you were to get rid of illegal foreigners, then it does open a gap in the market for certain jobs. Gardening, a lot of gardeners are illegal foreigners. Waitering and waitressing, a lot of waiters and waitresses are illegal foreigners. Spaza shops in this country are run by a lot of illegal foreigners, if not almost all of them. And there are certain other spaces. It could be removals, trucking, moving furniture. It could be driving Ubers and the like. A lot of those people are illegal foreigners. If you were to get rid of them, those spaces would open up. Would South Africans, ordinary South Africans, take up those jobs? We don't know. Would income inequality change? We don't know. But the reality is those jobs are being enacted by illegal foreigners. And the average South African is saying, foreigners can come here, but they must go through the right channels. And most of them are not, and therefore they must be deported. They must be removed. And when Mmusi Maimane and other people say things like, but some of these people that are here have got families, let's say a foreign man has married a South African woman and now they have children, what must happen? And I said to him, South Africans are saying that person must leave. They're not here legally. They must go. The South African woman can stay or she can travel with him. The children can stay or travel with him, but the person must come through the right channels. We cannot feel sorry for them because they committed a crime. Because once we do that, Mmusi Maimane, Julius Malema, anyone else, the Helen Suzman Foundation, that is going to speak about humanitarian and the humanity, that means they are willing to numb and turn a blind eye to certain laws in this country if they deem them correct. And who decides? We've got Phala and the money that was stashed in cultures. We've had Marcus Jooste and Steinhoff. We've got taxi violence. We've got gangs in Cape Town and. Are you going to say, don't arrest this person? Don't confiscate that. Don't fine this person because they are human first. They've committed a crime that discriminates against the average tax-paying, law-abiding South African citizen. So for illegal foreigners, unfortunately, according to our laws, according to our immigration laws, these people must be deported. They do not have legal refugee status. They have not been legalized as South Africans. They must be deported. It is a law. And if you're saying, no, we must relook that law again, go through the right channels and change it. Otherwise, you are saying that law must be applied selectively, which is what ANC corrupt leaders do, which is what other corrupt people in this country, including business people, do. The Helen Suzman Foundation is proving to be this very, very powerful NGO that is not putting South Africans first. Then why must South Africans protect and preserve the Helen Suzman Foundation? Clearly, it is not putting South Africans first and it is discriminating, and we need to call out who is funding them, what is their agenda. Understanding that a lot of business people, a lot of ordinary poor black South Africans, they buy from spaza shops. They get their head done from illegal foreigners. They go and they get a back room built by illegal foreigners. They hire waiters, waitresses, basic employees, gardeners who are illegal foreigners. They are complicit in the crimes. Myself, every time I buy from a spaza shop that is owned by a foreigner, I'm probably being involved in a criminal act. Every time I get in an Uber, which is maybe driven by an illegal foreigner, I'm complicit in an illegal act. But it is not my fault. The people that are responsible for illegal foreigners in this country are the ANC-led government. The ANC has not built strong borders from our African brothers and sisters. We do not have strong borders, number one. We do not have strong immigration at the airports. We have actually been finding illegal people coming into the airports with the wrong documentation. They pay bribes, etc. This includes the shipping ports, the harbors. They are not strong. And then there's rampant corruption at the border gates. There's rampant corruption at home affairs, where illegal foreigners come here, pay bribes, and they get IDs. And all of a sudden, they're earning SASSA grants. All of a sudden, they're getting RDPs, etc., etc. There is rampant corruption, and it is because of the ANC government. They are number one responsible for the fact that we have illegal foreigners in this country, and there are people that are not following the law. Africans, Asians, Europeans, Americans, North and South Americans that are here in this country illegally and should be found and should be deported. Get rid of them. They should not be here. They need to come in through the right channels. And if you feel that our laws are incorrect, challenge them. Take them to parliament, have discussions, get a white paper, get a green paper, and get the laws enacted and remove the borders. Or say that, look, if you're African, if you have an African passport, you can travel in and out of South Africa as you please. If you're on a spaza shop because you're offering a service to ordinary South Africans, we'll legalize you as a South African citizen, or we'll legalize you as a legal foreigner, whatever the case may be. But do not say we must turn a blind eye to crime just because you feel that we must put humanity first. It is wrong. And the ordinary South African needs to raise this as a very, very important point when it comes to voting in the national elections in 2024. That is the first point I wanted to raise. Again, please go and watch my sit down with Mmusi Maimane, the one in Cape Town and the one on the panel show. Number 2, polygamy, polygyny, polyandry. Polygamy is an overarching term for anyone who has more than one married spouse. Anyone, male or female, who has more than one married spouse, whether that married spouse or spouses are male or female. Polygyny is when a man has more than one wife. Polyandry is when a woman has more than one husband. Bit philosophical, close to my heart because I struggle with some of these things personally. We are raised on these templates of how we should live and exist. Go to school, become a good academic student, become a good sports student, be respectful, get to tertiary, study a decent diploma degree, get qualified, and then go into the working world, and then work in corporate or start a business, or work in corporate and then later on graduate into business. The problem is that not everyone is equipped for this journey and this template that's been given to us. And the world as we live in today doesn't give us many options. And people are constantly fighting for them. There was a time when just being white male was good enough and you were the supreme being. If you're white female, shame, you are lesser human. If you're Indian, Asian, male, female, you're even lesser. And then if you're black, male, female, you're at the bottom of the food chain. In particular, if you're black female, you're right at the bottom. But people have been fighting for diversity and representation, feminism, women empowerment, etc. And even from a sexuality perspective, we've got the lesbians, we've got the gays, we've got bisexual people. Today we've got transgenders, queers, inquisitive, etc. People that are fighting to say, children out there must know that this is not the only way to live. LGBTQI plus community is fighting for representation so that a young feminine boy who's like, I like boys, can feel like there is a way. I have seen it. From a religious perspective, you can be baptized Roman Catholic like myself, but later on you can convert to become Protestant, Anglican, whatever it is. You can go further and go into Islam and convert to becoming Muslim. You can convert and become Jewish and join Judaism. You can become Rastafarian. You can become a Buddhist. You can go and believe in African spirituality, what our ancestors and forefathers had. Believing in umvelinqangi, uThixo, uNkulunkulu, understanding izinyanya, amadlozi, and those rituals are, you can choose that. They are templates. Unfortunately, the African spirituality needs a lot of work to become systemized so that the young child can slot into it, just like church, just like mosque, just like a synagogue, etc. Now, from a relationship perspective, we struggle. From a sports perspective, you're tall, you can play basketball, or you can play rugby and be a lock. You're short, you can be a scrum half, you can play another sport. From an academic perspective, if you're not strong academically, maybe you need to look into more practical subjects, woodwork, plumbing, fitting and turning, etc. Some kids struggle academically and then they have to go into the practical, semi-skilled, unskilled spaces. Some kids don't get to tertiary, and that's okay. Some kids have to go into farming. Some kids go into manufacturing. There are kids who are like, I struggle at school, I'm whatever, but I speak well. They're going to stand-up comedy if they're funny. Some of them go into politics if they are that way inclined. Some of them go into entertainment. I'm a young guy, I can act. I'm a young woman, I'm beautiful. I become a model, I become an actress, I become a presenter, whatever the case may be. There are different roads. They are not as well driven in schools. Young kids don't know. They're mostly told, go get a job. Instead of, you can become an entertainer, you can become a sports person, you can run business, you can become a pastor, you can become an imam, you can become a rabbi, you can become a politician, and groom kids from a young age. From a relationship perspective, we struggle. And the philosophical question is, how do you know as a young boy that you are designed for polygyny? For ease, let's call it polyamory. Polyamory is outside of marriage now. It's when you have more than one romantic or intimate partner. How do you know? You will live your life dating, cheating, having multiple partners, having a side chick, having a mistress. You'll be caught out. People will cry, kick, scream. There'll be therapy. There'll be violence. And in your head as a young boy, you'll be like, I'm trying to be as faithful as I can. Should I go for therapy? Should I get punished? What should happen? But I find myself loving more than one woman. Could it be that I'm designed for polyamory, for polygyny? And who can guide me to understand this? Just like the alternative sexualities. Who can guide me to say, it is okay to have more than one romantic partner as a young boy? Because your forefathers did it. They had multiple wives. If you watch Ushaga Ilembe today on Mzansi Magic, if you watch Ushaga Ilembe, you realize in the Zulu customs and also in the Nguni, Abangoni customs, polygamy, polygyny was normalized. In certain parts of the world, if you're a Muslim man, you are given a license up to 4 wives if you can afford and provide for them. From the Western European way, of course, you have one wife, and then some of these men will have a mistress on the side, etc. But it's frowned upon and it's deemed immoral. How do you know you are designed to have the capacity for more than one romantic partner? And who is meant to guide this to say, young boys, these are the options. You can work in a job and you can run a business on the weekends after hours. But if you struggle, you don't have the time, you don't, try it out. If you're at school, once a month, all of you will have entrepreneurship day. You can do a cake sale, you can sell Boerewors rolls, you can sell t-shirts. And the kids who see this as, I really enjoy this, I really enjoy making money, it comes naturally to me. I give great customer service to the kids at school. We'll then allow you to sell once a week. And if you're really that good, maybe we can allow you to sell every day. This is something for you. In the same way, the boy who struggles at maths, but then when he gets on the soccer field, the football field, pitch, he is sensational. Maybe that is where you should be focusing your energy, young man. Now, from a relationship perspective, how many times must a guy cheat? How many times must a guy get side chicks and other for us to be like, look, this guy is not just cheating. This guy is not just, I want to smash, I lack sexual discipline. This guy genuinely has a love and a care and a responsibility to more than one woman. So that we can say, look, there's a chance that maybe you're meant to be polyamorous or be polygynous as a young boy. And let us now groom you and mentor you. And let us now get you to sit with other men from polygamous households so they can guide you into how to manage your time, how to manage the woman, how to get them to either know of each other or to keep them apart, how to manage the children when children come, etc., etc. That's now with boys. And women will always ask, what are your thoughts about polyandry? Same. The world is changing. In the past, we lived in a more patriarchal world. The idea of a woman having more than one male partner was frowned upon, immoral. Some people find it disgusting, etc. There are men today who will say, even in nature, you don't see female animals there. And it's like, well, in nature, you see a whole lot of other things that we don't normalize today. Animals fight and kill each other over territory. And if you're saying, well, in nature, people kill each other over territory, or animals kill each other over territory, let's normalize it today. I should be allowed to go and kill the king of the Zulus and take over Ingonyama Trust. So don't pick and choose what suits you. People pick and choose culture. I'm devout Christian, but I want this man to pay lobolo at bride price, which is cultural. No, you must choose if you're going to be Christian or cultural. And if you're going to be a merger of the two, come up with maybe a new name or let it be known. Don't pick and choose what suits you. And then when someone says, but culturally you can't have sex before marriage. No, but I'm young and I'm free. No. Now you're picking and choosing, and it discriminates against certain people. So if the guys are going to be like, yeah, but even in nature, if you look at the female animals, in nature, the lioness hunts. Are you saying the women should be the ones? Well, the lions also hunt. But the woman should also then work. In nature, the female hyena has a penis. So maybe be comfortable with being transgender. In nature, be careful. The world is changing. Men failed, men dropped the ball, and because of that, the elites have created a space where women now work and have careers, and they want to be promoted, and they fought for women empowerment, equal pay, feminism. They want to be CEOs, they want to be boss ladies, they want to own their own businesses like Oprah Winfrey and have their own brands and make their own money. They want to secure the bag. Because if men were organized, women would not have needed that option. Men left their homes, the women were stuck, and they were like, if I don't work, my kids will go hungry. If I don't work, I won't have shelter. If I won't work, I won't have clothing. My man has failed me. Many women today would love to be housewives, but the men cannot meet their demands, cannot meet the basic demands of paying for the home themselves, paying for the children themselves, buying groceries themselves, making sure that we have 1 or 2 cars at home so that the woman can stay at home and take care of the home. A lot of the Muslim men get this right. A lot of the Jewish men get this right. And it's because they run businesses, and their businesses suck from the masses of South Africans so that they can have minority wealth. But for average black, white, colored South Africans, unfortunately. So the woman is like, what about polyandry, Pen? And I'm like, we need to have that conversation as well. Because I have met women in real life who have an appetite to love more than one man. I love that guy and I love that guy. I love them. It's not about the sex. It's not because that one gives me money. And no, I'm genuinely happy when I spend time with that guy. He teaches me so much, etc. I'm genuinely happy when I'm with that guy. He challenges me in other ways. But now we've conditioned ourselves to say men are providers. That's why it's easy. I rock up, I bring money to this household. I rock up, I bring money to this household. I just play with the kids a little bit. I have sex with the woman a little bit. I can manage more than one household. But now many women are like, I have money too. I can also provide. I earn 100,000 a month. I can get a nanny. I can get a domestic work. I can get someone to cook in both these households with these men. There's always someone to take care of the kids because I'm winning. I'm making money. There's always someone to cook. There's always someone to clean. I rock up there if the guy is horny, we have sex, it's fine. I rock up there, the guy's horny, we have sex. I have the capacity. Why should I not be allowed to have more than one husband? We have polyamory. Willow Smith, the daughter of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, has said she's polyamorous. And her grandmother was like, I don't understand. And she was like, I think she calls her Gammy. She was like, Gammy, you have more than one friend in church. Why? And the grandmother was like, well, some of my friends tickle this, some of my, and she's like, it's the exact same thing in relationships. I get certain things from different partners and we end up being intimate and they're romantic. They're not just my friends. I want to be intimate with them. Again, I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying this is the way. I'm saying, how does a young child know, specifically a boy, for people that are traditionalists, how does a young boy, a young Muslim boy, a young Zulu boy know I'm actually meant to be polygynous? Later on, we can have the conversation around the young girl who's saying, I have appetite for more than one male partner. But for now, how does the boy know? And should we be creating templates which allow for boys to be like, let's experiment. Let's see, if you have more than one woman, can you manage them? I've said this before to men that a lot of men love sleeping outside or sleeping with other women. They love cheating and being unfaithful. But as soon as you give them a responsibility for more than one household, they cave. They prefer having a side chick who's there at a distance. Once you're like, no, you must take responsibility for that home. You must share the cost of that place where she stays. You must make sure she has food. You must be there for her emotional well-being. If she has family events, you must show up. Show up there, show up here. Then we can say, okay, this guy can handle more than one household. But if you can't, you should not be allowed to be sleeping with random women and calling yourself polygynous. You're just a cheater. You just lack sexual discipline. And you're allowed to do that, but it must be known that you're a cheater. You're just unfaithful. These are the conversations we need to have because we're trying to build a better society and we're trying to ensure that people are not miserable, depressed. A lot of violence, a lot of misery, a lot of therapy and depression comes out from people struggling with multiple partners and those kind of things. Not to say that it's right. Someone could say, well, I'm naturally inclined to crime. Create a template that allows me to steal. No. Again, just like the illegal foreigners conversation, we need to be like, does this harm the average person? Does it harm the average woman to have more than one partner? And if the answer is yes, then we need to help you move away from those women and maybe find women that are more aligned to you, or we need to help you not be polyamorous, not be polygynous because you are hurting society. But it needs to be a conversation. That's my second point. In closing, Tony Mandarich, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, has got my favorite motivational clip. And I'm going to remix it as my parting shot to you guys for today. A lot of people search endlessly for some complex, magical formula to understand why some people are successful and why others are not. But it really just boils down to this concept of productivity. That you're going to apply the best of your effort in the allotted time that you have to be the most productive and to have the greatest outcome. Because spending time doing things over and over again that you're not really good at is the least productive way and the most worthless way to spend your life. There are so many people out in the world, athletes, super athletes, entertainers, musicians, politicians, business people, academics, employees, who are the best at what they do, who are the greatest at what they do. And a lot of people just discount it to they were born in the right family, they're the right nationality, they went to the right church, they have the right genetics. But it is not so much about the right genetics, the right family, the right nationality, the right gender, as it is about effort. Understanding productivity, that you will take your greatest skills, talents, opportunities, environments, and you will take the allotted time that you have and you will do every single task in that space right. And successful people understand that to become world class, the best in the world, the best of all time, they need to do every single task right, whereas people that are unsuccessful do every task wrong. You understand that if Lionel Messi is not scoring that goal at that particular time, you understand if Cristiano Ronaldo does not make the right decision to move to Manchester United and then to Real Madrid at that particular time, you understand that if Beyonce Knowles doesn't sing that song correct that time, you understand if that business person does not sign that deal at that age, at that time with that person, they do not become the best at their craft. And those people understand that I have a window of opportunity to do every single thing right. And in the way they practice, in the way that they rehearse, in the way that they deal with other people, they do every single task right because they do not want to do it again. Because if you do it again, you're wasting time. And this thing is not just about people at the highest levels. It goes down to ordinary people and ordinary things. Did you wash the dishes correctly today? Or do you still have to go back and rewash? Did you really do that job presentation well today? Or will you have to do it again and again? When you had to rehearse for your speech at school, did you rehearse and did you write the greatest speech you could be? Or will you have to do it again and deal with the mediocre mark? And the question is, if you cannot clean the house correctly, if you cannot teach your children and help your children at homework correctly, can you be trusted to run the biggest company correctly? And this is not to say that the person who washes the dishes the best can run a company the best, but it's the person that can ensure that the dishes are washed the best that can run the company the best, because that skill is ensuring there's delegation and that task was done. You do not have to sit with your kids and do the homework with them. You get them the best tutors. You put them in the best schools with the best teachers. Then you should be allowed to run the best company. It comes in the little things that you do. The Springboks are going to the World Cup now. Have they been practicing the best? If you practice right, by the time you get to the match, it becomes just second nature. If you practice hard, by the time you get to the match, it's much easier. Les Brown says, if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, that's a practice, your life, the match, will be easy. Tony Mandarich speaks about productivity. A lot of people search endlessly for some complex, magical formula for why some people are successful and why others are not. And it boils down to this concept of productivity. How are you going to use your day today? Dr. Miles Monroe says, how can God give you 1,000 Rand if you struggle to manage 100 Rand? How can God give you a business, a bakery business, if you are failing to use the stove that you have at home to bake scones and fat cakes amakwenya to begin building your catering business before they give you a bakery? How can God give you a huge mega church like TD Jakes and Joel Austin if you are struggling with the 5-10 people now to get them zoned into you as a preacher, as a pastor, as someone that delivers salvation? What are you doing with the little bit that you have? What are you doing paying you all the black pen with the cell phone that you have, the little bit of data that you have, your little YouTube channel? What are you doing with that before someone like Utebza comes through, before someone like DJ Spoo comes through, before someone like Mac G comes through, before someone else comes through and says, here's a bigger platform, here are better cameras, here is a bigger audience for you to come and ignite the world with what you have? Productivity. Hope that you guys will have a great and a blessed day. Pen you all the black pen, pen you all the swart pen, upen weli pen elimnyama. Because I love you guys very much. Ngiyanthanda kakhulu bafethu. Ngiyathemba ukuthi nizoba nosuku oluhle, nisebenze, niyimisele, niyikhondle, nikhuthale. Werk baie hard vir jou drome, vir jou doele, so that jy kan 'n succesvolle lewe hê vir yourself, vir jou familie. I love you guys very much. Have a great and blessed day. Pen you well the black pen.